Hiya, my name is Lily and welcome back to my channel. In this video I am going to be reviewing a book that I have got as part of a book tour, and that is The Ship of Shadows by Maria Kuznia. If you haven't seen the title of the video, this is part of the Write Reads blog tours, which they have kindly said I could also post a video onto my YouTube as I no longer blog. And this book has already been released. It was released back earlier in July, and it is a middle grade fantasy. I was so excited to be accepted onto this tour, so thank you to the Write Reads and to Puffin Books for making this tour possible and for letting me take part. This is just going to be quite a fairly quick review, I think. That's my plan anyway. I haven't strictly scripted it, I just wanted to sit down and talk to you about what my thoughts were while reading this book, and yeah. I'm just going to get straight into my review of The Ship of Shadows by Maria Kuznia. I think first off I'm just going to give you a quick introduction of what this book is about, and I will not give any spoilers, don't worry, but yeah, I'm just going to give you a quick wrap up of what I think you should know before going into this book. The book centres around a young girl called Alea. She lives in a harbour city in Spain, and she loves to sneak into the library and read books about Thomas James and his secret ship called the Ship of Shadows, which is rumoured to have been taken over by a crew of pirate women and to still be crewed by them today. And it's kind of this urban legend, or not really urban is it, but you know, it's folklore, it's a myth, it's a legend. Not everyone believes the Ship of Shadows exists. It's meant to be a bit of a magical ship, and one day she is in the harbour, she snuck out and she sees this ship come in and it is smoking, and she sees the symbol of Thomas James and she knows instantly that must be the Ship of Shadows, and she sees that it's crewed by women and she's certain this has got to be the Ship of Shadows. She bumps into someone from the ship, having followed them, and this person from the ship says to her that they need someone who is good with languages, because Alea can speak Spanish and English and a little bit of Arabic, and I think there's a few other languages in there as well, for their ship, and invites her to come and join the Ship of Shadows. And Alea has to say no, because her family doesn't know that she's even snuck out today, and she has responsibilities, she has family members she doesn't want to leave behind. But then she accidentally stumbles across counterfeit coins, which is a highly illegal thing in that area of Spain, and if the criminals find out that she knows about it, they're going to want to kill her, and of course they find out. So she's offered refuge on the Ship of Shadows, and then lo and behold, when she wakes up from having a nap, the ship has left the harbour, and she has to go on this adventure with the pirate crew. I'm not going to tell you anything else because I think it would be quite fun for you to discover everything else by yourself, and I think that's all that's covered in the blurb on the back as well. Okay, so first up, I think this is a really good middle grade, and I would highly encourage you to give it to any young girls specifically that you think could benefit from seeing a story all about young girls and women being their own bosses and taking charge and going on their own adventures without any input from men. That is the biggest plus that this book has, and I think it is just incredible from that aspect. When I was little, there were often books about girl adventurers and girl explorers and stuff like that, but there was always a man involved. And it's very rare, really, these days, still, to find a book where there is a full female cast. And the only men in this book are pretty much just bad guys. And I think that's great. I think it's really wonderful for young girls to see. So I'd highly recommend buying this book for any young child that you think could benefit from seeing that, including young boys and young non-binary children, but specifically I do think young girls would really benefit from reading this book. Alea is a really wonderful main character. I really loved her. She's such a pure character in so many ways. She just wants to learn and explore, she wants things to be good, and she wants to be good, and it's just, she's so lovely. She's such a good role model. Hello Maggie, you coming to help me with my review, are you? Okay, I guess I'm doing a review of a cat on my lap, sure. Alea is a really wonderful character. I thought she was really sweet, and I really liked her motivations. I loved the dream-like way she viewed the Ship of Shadows, and yeah, I just thought she was a really good lens through which to see this world. And I thought the world was really clever as well. I really enjoyed hearing about the Ship of Shadows and seeing how different things manifest, seeing how the shadows work, and seeing rooms appearing and disappearing, and all the places they travel to were so unique and interesting, and I thought they were so like vividly described that I felt like I could imagine myself there. It was incredibly well written in that respect. Another thing I really enjoyed was the found families aspect of this book. I thought that it was really lovely to see this crew of women all supporting each other and all having their own roles, but also there was like the motherly aspect of some of the crew members, and everyone was making friends and they were all valued equally. Like Alea is very young, but she was not treated as beneath the others because she was young, and in fact she's proved to be very useful. And I really liked that that was the way it was portrayed. The reason this book isn't a 5-star read for me is because I found it actually really difficult to keep track of who is who in this book. The crew is very large and you're very briefly introduced to everyone and what their role is on the ship, and then it's not really reminded again unless they're actually performing their role. And for example, like Francis and Farron, I kept mixing them up because their names are so similar, and even now I'm struggling to remember who is who. I think for me what I needed was a guide at the front or the back of the book as to who was who, so I could flick back and check, right, Francis is this person, Farron is this person, and like there are certain ones that obviously the captain, I could tell straight away who the captain was, but other ones like Francis and Farron, I really found it difficult to remember what their role was and who they actually were on this ship. So I think that actually took away from my reading experience, because if someone was in one particular place on the ship, it would have some significance, but because I couldn't remember who they were and what they did, I didn't get this importance of that moment. So I think that needs to be, I'm hoping in the next book or books, I think this is going to be part of a series, I hope that there is going to be a guide at the front of the book. I'm wondering maybe there wasn't a guide at the front of this book because I didn't want to spoil it, but I think even putting one at the back would have helped me a lot as a reader. My only other complaint with this book is I did find it a little bit slow. I thought it would be a lot more action-packed than it was, but there was a lot of world building and a lot of very slowly revealing the details because they didn't trust Alea. So I think it's a symptom of a first book in the series. Often the first book in the series is a lot slower than any other book because you've got to establish this world and establish the characters. So I wouldn't say that took too much away, because I did still find it interesting, I did still want to read it, it just wasn't as fast-paced as I was expecting it to be. This book has been really difficult for me to rate. I don't normally use half stars, but I think I'm going to have to in this video. I have been toying as to whether this book was a 3-star or a 4-star, and I'm going to just explain to you the difference for me between star ratings, because I know star ratings are very subjective. So a 5-star book for me is a book that is absolutely amazing. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's one of those books that the imperfections are so tiny it doesn't matter to me. I couldn't stop reading it, I couldn't put it down, and I just adored it, and while I was reading there was nothing wrong with it while I was reading. A 4-star book is a book that I still think was really, really good, but had some flaws that means that I can't say it was an almost perfect or perfect book. A 3-star read for me is a book that it was okay, but there were some significant problems that detracted from my reading experience. A 2-star book would be, this is not a very good book, there was a lot of problems with it, but there's still some merits. And then a 1-star book is, I really can't say anything good about this book, it's really bad, and I think I've only actually ever rated one book 1 star. So at the moment this book is hovering between 3 and 4 stars for me, and I think I'm going to have to give it 3.5 stars out of 5, but I do think that future books in the series will be 4 and 5-star reads, because I think they'll be faster paced, and I think that the characters will be more established and I'll be less confused. Hopefully there'll be a character guide in future books to help me out in that sense. All that being said, I know that my review is very subjective, and I know other people had no problem keeping track of who is who, so I would still very highly recommend this book. Even though it's not a 5 or 4-star read for me, I would still say you should go and read this book and enjoy it. Give it to the children in your life, give it to older people in your life, but I think it's actually a really good book. I'm really excited to see what comes next in this series and what comes next from the author. Okay, that is it. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you again to The Right Reads for allowing me to take part in this blog tour and allow me to make this video for the blog tour. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe. If you have anything you'd like to say about my review, if you have any thoughts, if you want to recommend me any books that you think I might like based on this review, please let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you like the video, please give it a like. Thank you. Bye.